Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows Julie, a mother of two newborns, struggling to make ends meet after being abandoned by her family. One rainy night, a millionaire named Jems finds her crying on the streets and offers to help. But when she moves in with him, everything changes. Jems's mysterious past starts to surface, and Julie soon discovers that his help comes with strings attached. What happens next will leave you speechless, as Julie faces a decision that could change her life forever. Will she trust Gems, or is it time to walk away? Stay tuned to find out, and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe. One rainy afternoon, a millionaire named Jems Collins was driving home from work when he noticed something strange. He saw a woman standing by the side of the road, soaked in the rain. She was crying and holding two tiny babies in her arms. The sight tugged at Jems's heart. Jems immediately pulled over. His car's headlights shone on the woman, and he could see her shivering. "Are you okay?" he called out, his voice full of concern. The woman looked up, surprised as if she hadn't noticed him. I I don't know what to do," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Her name was Julie. She explained that she was a single mother who had just given birth to twins. She had nowhere to go, no family to help her, and her car had broken down far away. She was stranded on the side of the road with no way to get home. Jems's heart sank. He couldn't just leave her out in the rain, especially with two newborn babies. "Don't worry," Jems said, his voice filled with determination. "I'll help you." He gently took one of the babies from her arms and placed him in his car. Then he carefully guided Yuli and her other baby into the back seat. Jems immediately started the car and drove to his mansion, which was not far away. As they drove, Julie couldn't believe what was happening. She had never expected a stranger to be so kind. She had been through so much. Her life had been full of struggles. But now there was a tiny light of hope. When they reached Jems's home, he quickly got out and opened the door for her. His housekeeper, Maria, was waiting inside and immediately rushed to help Julie. "You're safe now," Jems told her with a reassuring smile. "You and your babies can stay here as long as you need." Julie couldn't believe it. She had gone from having nothing and no one to finding someone who cared enough to help. But as Jems led them inside, Julie still had so many questions. Why was Jems helping her? What did he expect in return? Just then, she noticed something on the wall, a picture of Jems with a young girl. It was a family portrait, and Julie couldn't help but ask, "Who's the little girl in the picture?" she asked, curious. Jems paused, then smiled. "That's my daughter, Lily. She passed away a few years ago." Julie's heart broke for him. She understood the pain of losing someone you love, but it made her even more grateful for his kindness. Inside, Maria made them tea, and Jems gently rocked one of the babies to sleep. As the rain poured outside, Julie sat down on the couch, staring at the warm fire crackling in the fireplace. But there was still something Julie couldn't shake. Why had Jems gone so far to help her? As Jems gently rocked the baby to sleep, Julie couldn't help but think about how much her life had changed in the span of just a few hours. From being stranded in the rain with nowhere to turn, to sitting in a mansion, she felt like she was in a dream. She took a deep breath and asked, "Why are you doing all this for me?" Jems paused for a moment, carefully considering his words. He placed the baby in a crib and turned to face Julie. "I know what it's like to feel completely lost," he said quietly. "I lost my daughter a few years ago, and it changed me. I realized that helping others, especially those in need, is the only way I can honor her memory." Julie looked at him, touched by his words. She couldn't imagine the pain of losing a child, but she understood the feeling of wanting to make a difference. Jems's eyes softened. "When I saw you in the rain with your babies, I couldn't just walk away. I felt like I had to help, like it was the right thing to do. I believe sometimes we're given opportunities to make a real difference in someone's life, and this felt like one of those moments." Julie smiled weakly, feeling a rush of gratitude. She had never expected anything like this, but in that moment, she realized how much Jems's kindness meant to her. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, wiping away a tear. "You don't have to thank me," Jems replied with a warm smile. "Just take care of yourself and your babies. That's all that matters." Julie nodded, feeling the weight of everything she had gone through start to lift, even if just a little. The warmth of the fire and the gentle sounds of the house felt so comforting. For the first time in a long time, she felt like things might get better. But even as she settled in, Yuli's mind kept circling back to one thing. Jems had a secret. She could sense that there was more to his story, something deeper that he hadn't shared yet. Why did he want to help so badly? What was his story really about? As the night went on, Yuli couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end of their story. There was something more between her and Jems, something that neither of them had yet to uncover. And she had a feeling that soon the truth would come out, but only time would tell what that truth would be. As the days passed, Julie slowly adjusted to life in Jems's home. The mansion was vast, but it was also warm, and the care Jems showed toward her and the babies never wavered. Every day he would check in on her, bringing meals and supplies, and sometimes just sitting with her as they talked. His kindness was overwhelming, and while Julie appreciated it, she couldn't help but feel like there was something he wasn't telling her. She found herself growing more curious about Jems's past. He never mentioned much about his life before she met him, and the few times she tried to ask, he would change the subject. It was almost as though he was guarding a deep secret, one that he wasn't ready to share. One evening, while Julie was rocking one of the babies to sleep, Jems came in and sat beside her. His face was unusually serious, and Julie felt a wave of concern. She gently placed the baby down in the crib and turned to face him. "Jems, is everything okay?" she asked, her voice soft. He took a deep breath and looked at her, his expression softening. "I've been meaning to talk to you about something," he began, his tone sincere. Julie's heart raced. She had a feeling this was the moment when he would finally open up to her. Jems hesitated for a moment before continuing. "There's something you need to know about me. Something I haven't shared with you yet." Julie's curiosity piqued, and she leaned in slightly, waiting for him to continue. "When I was younger, I lost everything. My family, my friends, and even my business. It was all because I made a decision that I regret every single day. I chose money over the people who mattered most to me," Jem said, his voice tight with emotion. Julie was shocked. She had known he had a successful business, but she never imagined that his past was so painful. "What happened?" Julie asked gently, wanting to understand more. Jem sighed. "I was so focused on building my empire that I didn't see how much I was losing along the way. My wife left me, and my daughter, she disappeared." Julie gasped. "Your daughter?" Jems nodded, his eyes filled with sorrow. "Yes, I lost her because of my selfishness. She was taken from me when I was too blind to realize what was truly important." The room was silent for a moment, and Julie's heart ached for him. She could see the weight of the past pressing down on him, and she felt a deep sense of empathy for the pain he had endured. "But why did you help me and the babies?" Julie asked quietly. "What made you want to do all this?" Jems's eyes met hers, and for the first time, she saw a glimpse of vulnerability. "When I saw you in the rain with your babies, it reminded me of what I had lost. I wanted to help you because I couldn't stand the thought of anyone going through what I did. I want to make up for my mistakes, and I guess helping you was my way of doing that." Julie's heart softened. She didn't know what to say, but she knew that what he was offering wasn't just help. It was a chance at redemption for both of them. But even as they shared this moment, Julie knew that there was still more to the story. The pain Jems had been carrying for so long couldn't just be erased by a few kind gestures. There was still healing to be done, and Julie couldn't shake the feeling that their paths had crossed for a reason, one that neither of them fully understood yet. As the days turned into weeks, Julie and Jems grew closer. They began to trust each other more, and slowly Julie started to open up about her own struggles. The connection between them was undeniable, but there were still questions left unanswered, questions that Jems was yet to reveal. One night, after putting the babies to bed, Jems sat down with Julie again. "There's one more thing I need to tell you," he said, his voice serious. Julie looked at him, waiting for him to continue. "I've been keeping something from you," Jems began, "and I think it's time you knew the truth." The air between them grew tense as Julie braced herself for what was to come. What could it be? What was Jems hiding now? I'm not just a businessman. I'm part of something much bigger. Something that could change everything for you and your babies. Julie's eyes widened. What do you mean? Jem stood up and paced the room, clearly conflicted. I've been trying to help you, but I also need you to understand that what I'm offering isn't just out of kindness. It's part of something I've been building, a legacy. What kind of legacy? Julie asked, her heart pounding. Jems paused, his eyes darkening. It's something you're not going to like, but it's the truth. Julie felt a chill run down her spine. What had she gotten herself into? The answer she was waiting for hung in the air, waiting to change everything. Julie's heart raced as Jems took a slow breath, his eyes never leaving hers. The silence felt heavy, and for a moment she wondered if she should walk away from the conversation before things got too complicated. I'm part of an organization, Jems said quietly, one that helps families in need, but not just in the way you think. We give them a fresh start, but there's always a price. Julie frowned. A price? What do you mean? Jems hesitated, his gaze flickering with guilt. I didn't want to burden you with this, but the truth is, my wealth, my influence, comes from connections to powerful people, people who have their own agenda. And now that you and the babies are here, I can't just ignore it. The help I've given you comes with a condition. Julie's mind spun. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She had trusted Jems, relied on him for support, and now it felt like she was caught in something she couldn't understand. Condition? She whispered. What do you mean by that? Jems stepped closer, his voice lowering. They want something in return, something that could put you and the babies at risk if I don't comply. Fear gripped Julie's chest. She looked at Jems, who seemed torn, his expression filled with regret. I didn't want you to be involved in this, he continued, but it's too late now. I can't just let go of the past. I owe them too much, and I don't want to lose everything again. Julie's mind raced. This wasn't just about her or the babies anymore. She had to think carefully about what to do next. She had to decide if she wanted to be part of this dangerous web Jems was tangled in, or if it was time to walk away and protect her children. She took a deep breath and stood up. Jems, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I have to protect my children. I can't be a part of something that could hurt them. You need to make a choice too. This isn't just about you anymore. Jems's eyes softened, but there was a shadow of sadness in his gaze. I never wanted to put you in this position, Julie, but I don't know how to fix things. Julie took a step back, her mind made up. Then maybe it's time we both figure out what's best for our futures, without anyone pulling the strings. With that, Julie turned away, her heart heavy with the realization that she had to walk away from Jems, despite the bond they had formed. It wasn't an easy decision, but she knew it was the right one. Her children's safety had to come first. Jems watched her leave, his heart aching, but he knew she was right. The secrets, the dangerous connections. It was all too much. He had to make a choice. Either stay entangled in the past or fight for a real future, one that was free of shadows. As Julie stepped outside into the cool night air, she felt a strange sense of relief. She didn't know what the future would hold, but she knew one thing for sure. She would protect her family no matter what. And as for Jems, he had to make a decision that would shape his life forever. Would he choose to break free from the dangerous ties that bound him, or would he stay trapped in a life of secrets and debts? Only time would tell.